की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शतश्मार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शतश्मार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शतश्मार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शतश्मार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गोरक्षर बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपनु गौरिय गुरु वार्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम अक्षय श्री रस ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री रस-पाñcādhyāyī की जय। श्रील जीव गोस्वामी पाद की जय। श्रील विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्ति वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जन शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्ति वेदांत नारायणति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनेति नामिने। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सार्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीन अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams Indira Mataji, Yashoda Didi, Madhavi Didi, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Ganga Mataji. And I don't know who this is, Shawan Chandra. Oh, from Bangladesh. Cool. Haribol. And Gopi Kant Prabhu, Dandavat pranams. Prajumna Prabhu, can we sing the tunes of the bowels? Well, I mean, yeah, there are some songs by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Is it Dharma Pate Take Sada Jivana Japana Bhai na 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 na. There's a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur and quite a few songs by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the bow style. And yeah, you'd have to show me some examples, Prajumna Prabhu, because some of the melodies that we do sing are kind of like bow melodies, but. Gargaraj ji, Dandavat Pranam, and Champak Didi. And also, Prajumna Prabhu, your question regarding Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's a devotee in Delhi named Gokul Patti Prabhu, and he's translating all of Chaitanya Charitamrita along with the commentary of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj. They actually wanted me to work on it, but I don't have enough time. Vichitra Didi is working on it. But yeah, that will be a new Chaitanya Charitamrita that will come out in English. All right, so let's continue with our reading. Dandavat pranams, everybody. So let's see. So Krishna said all these things to the gopis. We've gone over it so many times now. I'll just read the last thing that Krishna said. He said, ecstatic love for me arises in devotees' hearts when they hear about me. Take darshan of my deity, meditate on my beauty, and continuously chant my names, which are endowed with my attributes. Being in my physical presence does not have the same result. So you should return back to your homes. And obviously the gopis were not happy with that answer. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, hearing Govinda speak such unpleasant words, the gopis became extremely dejected and drowned in the abysmal ocean of despair. Overwhelmed by excessive grief, the gopis held their heads down and breathed heavily, exhaling hot air that dried up their reddish bimba fruit lips. As they scratched the ground with their toenails, their tears mixed with their kajal and washed away the kumkum from their breasts. Their hearts were so burdened with sorrow that they simply stood there without saying a word. The gopis, being filled with the topmost prem for Śrī Kṛṣṇa, had given up all other desires for his sake. Thus they remained unwavering in their love for him, even upon hearing his cruel words. His harsh utterances aroused such splitting pain in them that their eyes filled with tears, causing them to lose their power of sight completely. Wiping away their tears, they replied to him, their voices faltering due to love-laden anger. The gopi said, O omnipotent one, O dearest beloved, you are all-pervading, so you know our hearts. It is not proper for you to speak such cruel words to us. We, your loving maidservants, have given up all our material attachments so that we can devote ourselves to serving your lotus feet. There is no doubt that we have no control over you, because you are independent and obstinate. Still, you should reciprocate with us, just as the primeval Lord Bhagavan Narayan mercifully fulfills the desires of those who seek liberation from this world. Do not discard us. O beloved, you are fully conversant with the esoteric... Oh, wait. What verses are we reading to? Let me just check. 33, 34. Okay. O beloved, you are fully conversant with the esoteric aspects of religion. You have instructed us on the ethical principle that a lady's prescribed duty is to serve her husband, children, and relatives appropriately. According to this, we should serve you, our preceptor, because you, being directly the Supreme Lord, are the ultimate goal of all instructions. You are the dearmost friends and the very soul of all living beings. So service to you automatically includes the service of husbands and children. Okay, so now we come to the verse that we're doing today. Hare Krishna Raj Bhuvan Yadav ji and Sudevi Didi Dandavat Pranam. Okay. Kurvanti hi tvayi ratim kushala sva atman nitya priye pati sutadi bhirarti daikim tanna prasida parameshvara masmachindya asham dhritam tvayi chirad aravinda netra. O beloved, exalted personalities who are expert in Shastra love only you because, being eternally dear to all living entities, you are their most intimate friend and indeed their very soul. What is achieved by loving husband, children, and other relatives who are all subject to death and are simply the cause of suffering? O Almighty One, you should be pleased with us. O lotus-eyed one, kindly do not cut down the creeper of our long-cherished aspiration to have your association. Srila Śrīdhara Swamipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. In this verse, starting with Kurvanti, the Vrajadevis appealed to Krishna, strengthening their argument on the basis of morality. Kushal means expert in Shastra. We are your subjects, subservient to your rule. So what business do we have with children, etc.? Those who have directly seen the very soul of all living beings have no need to maintain any relation with children and other family members. Srila Jīva Gosvāmīpad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. The Vrajadevis had renounced their service to their husbands and other family members on the strength of Shastra. And in the present verse, they abdicated their family responsibilities on the basis of righteous behavior. Verse 20 of the present chapter, Matara Pitara Putra, describes in detail the bonds of the Gopis' affection. But in the first half of the present verse, starting with Kurvanti, they thoroughly rejected these domestic ties. The word he, indeed, affirms their decision. Kushala, proficient, means clever, expert persons who can discriminate the substance from the insubstantial. Sri Gargacharya confirms this in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:26-21. Pritim kurvanti manava. Those most fortunate persons who love Krishna are kushal. Such proficient persons have an eternal, spontaneous love for you, rati. For this reason, we gopis and others always cherish the desire to have a blissful, loving exchange with you. In contrast, husbands and other family members cause us misery because they are contrary. Swa atman artidai. Sway means relatives. Atman means self. Artadai means those who give misery. Due to being opposed to you, our husbands and others obstruct us when we are going for abhisar and thus give us pain. Therefore, we should cut off all relations with such inimical persons who are trying to keep us away from you. We have no interest in such relatives. The word swa is a pronoun, but here the words swe and swasmin are both in the seventh case singular, because the word swa comes under the category of purva and other pronouns. The 9 words beginning with purva, smat, and smin are optional. And there's a footnote here. This is explained in Harinamamrita Vyakaranam, chapter Krishnanam, aphorism 323. Purvadibhyo navabhya smat sminova. I never got to that part. In verse 31, the Vraj maidens in the first group said, Bhakta bhajasva, we have worshipped your lotus feet, so you should reciprocate with us. Don't reject us. The Gopis concluded their appeal with the same mood in the present verse. Tanna, you should be pleased with us. This is our desire. Having told their beloved what he should do, the Gopis next confirms their intention by telling him what he should not do. Mas machindya, do not cut down the flourishing creeper of our hope. We have been enamored of you from boyhood. As soon as our awareness started developing, we became fixed in our desires towards you. Don't cut the creeper of our desire. Rather, let it fructify. Otherwise, our life will shortly come to an end because we totally depend on you. This hope had completely negated the Gopis' relationship with their husbands. The Gopis expressed their hope in a special way. Hey Varada, O you who award benedictions, the day you stole the young girl's clothes, you said, I have understood your intention in performing this vow. That's in chapter 22, verse 25. You granted them some special boon. Now you are breaking your word. You are Ishwar, the Supreme Master, so you can accomplish anything, even that which is impossible for others. We have been nourishing a desire for you in our hearts for a long time. Actually, you instilled this in us, and now who else but you can fulfill it? Krishna might reply, why did he nourish such a desire? The Gopis answer, Hey Aravinda Netra, which woman upon beholding your lotus eyes will not be overcome with desire for you? Later on in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-2, the Gopis will say, Sharadudasaye sadhu jatasat. O Śrī Kṛṣṇa, master of erotic mellows, O you who fulfill the deepest desires, we are your unpaid maidservants. Your eyes supersede the beauty of the whirl of the most exquisite, fully blossomed lotus growing in an autumn pond. With these beautiful eyes, you are killing us. Is this not murder? Is killing with your deadly glance not considered murder in this world? The Vrajramanis addressed Krishna as Aravinda Netra, lotus-eyed one, due to the love-filled anger that is inherent in their spontaneous prem. Indirectly, they meant to say, your lotus eyes have a very sharp edge like a whirling disc, and they are ripping our hearts apart. They proffer yet another meaning. The lotus closes at night, and so do your lotus eyes. Since they are closed at night and cannot see, it is logical for you to neglect us, even though we are the most beautiful of maidens. The Gopis joked in this way. Using the metaphor Aravinda also implies, your eyes are like lotuses. It would appear that you remove all kinds of afflictions just by your glance, but you are behaving in a contrary manner with us. This is not proper. Aishwarya Paksha Artha. Explanation in awe and reverence. Okay, so this is the explanation in awe and reverence. Kurvanti hi tvai ratim kushala. The scriptures declare that expert devotees, kushala, like Narad, not only have faith in you, but also possess rati, a highly developed special love through which they worship you. This is befitting because you are Nitya Priya, you are eternally dear. So Nitya Priya, it is not our fault if we love you. Where do eternality, Nitya, and dearness, Priya, come from? You are Nitya Priya because you are the soul of all souls, Swai Atmani, the Paramatma, or soul. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-55, it is said, O Maharaj Parikshit, you should understand Śrī Kṛṣṇa to be the Supersoul, the soul of all souls. This means that you are the abode of pleasure. Otherwise, how could you be the source of pure unconditional love, Nirupadika Prem? What use do we have for our husbands? Not even the slightest bit. Śrī Kṛṣṇa might retort, Your husbands are also eternally dear to me. The gopis reply, how can that be when they give us pain? We worship you in a way which Sri Narad and other proficient devotees aspire to, but our husbands oppose our devotion to you. So what is the use of such husbands? Hey Varadeshwar, O topmost bestower of blessings, with this address, sorry. Oops, sorry. That wasn't the gopis speaking right there. Anyways, with this address, the gopis are declaring that Krishna is the supreme master of all those who grant benedictions. You never fail to bestow upon your worshippers whatever they desire. So how will our prayer not be successful? The same meaning applies to the upcoming commentaries. Okay, so that is with Aishwarya. Now is the meaning showing indifference. Śrī Kṛṣṇa might object. I am dear to all the embodied living beings. They love me according to their nature. Why don't you also display your natural amorous feelings for me in the same way? Expecting such an answer from him, the gopis retort. Married ladies who are expert in their household duties, kushala, are fortunate that their husbands alleviate all their sorrows. For them, their homes and their own souls are dear. So how can they be romantically attracted to you? Never. Their beloved family life would be ruined if they became attracted to you. In general, chaste ladies never deviate from their vows to their husbands, and in the affluence of their domestic life, they do not feel any shortage. They live in the prosperity of home, husband, and children. So how can they ever become devoted to you? Never. Do not imagine this even in your... Hey Varada, O you who fulfill desires. Hey Ishwar, O master of Gokul, kindly be pleased with us. Desist from any improper act. Now the gopis are giving the meaning of na prasiddha, be merciful to us. We will not stay here any longer. Give us permission to go home. Give up the desire of your heart to have direct contact with us. So now they're playing with Krishna. Okay, fine, we're going home. Which is definitely against his desire. In this verse, Parameshwar, Supreme Controller, has been used rather than Varadeshwar, he who grants boons. And Chindyat, active voice, in the place of Chindya, passive voice, to cut down. And the gopis obscure or elliptical talk. The word bhavan, the respectful form of you, is omitted. Okay. Just curious what this word elliptical means of speech or writing, using or involving ellipsis, especially so as to be difficult to understand. Okay, so not completing sentences, kind of like leaving stuff out. Okay. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. Radhe Radhe, Captain A1 Gaming. All right. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. Some gopis continue the line of reasoning presented in the previous verses, and now in the present verse, Kurvanti, they quoted Sri Gargacharya to strengthen their case on moral grounds. Those who love Śrī Kṛṣṇa are most fortunate because they are never overcome by lust and the other enemies. Krishna always protects them, just as Sri Vishnu always defends the demigods from the demons. Those who firmly believe this are most intelligent, and such intelligent persons have eternal, spontaneous affection for you. You are the object of their love, Swa, and you are their soul, Atman. So you are forever dear to them, Nitya Priya. The love and affection for husband and children is based on bodily relationship, and is thus is temporary. We don't love those persons because they cause us distress, especially when they create obstacles for us at the time of abhisar. So there is no reason to maintain any relation with them. Therefore, be pleased with us and protect lives. If you do not care about saving us married gopis, then let it be. But why are you making these unmarried girls cry? Hey Varada, O bestower of boons, you told us, I have come to know of your solemn promise, and I will fulfill your desire in the coming nights. Have you forgotten this? You might say, I am pleased with the unmarried gopis because of their worship with Katyayani. But why should I be pleased with you? So he's pleased because not all the gopis there worshipped Katyayani. Those were just the younger gopis. I mean, like the Sadhansita gopis. To this, the gopis reply, there might not be any reason, but you should be pleased with us nonetheless. Here the gopis are making a very humble entreaty. O Supreme Master, you are independent to act according to your wish, but we have been completely enamored of you from childhood, and as soon as our awareness started developing, we began nurturing the desire to perform some special seva to you. Now the creeper of our desire, a creeper that you yourself planted in our hearts, is bearing fruit. So please do not cut it down. Noble persons would never do such a thing. The word chirat, long-standing, refers to the desire that the gopis had been cherishing since early childhood. Hey Aravinda Lochana, O lotus-eyed one, when we were just entering youth, you planted bhav in our hearts with a glance from your tender lotus eyes. That bhav took the form of the seed of the creeper of hope, and it is now bearing fruit. In Rasa Shastra, it is said, when the eyes connect, the hearts become enamored, and the lovers start meditating on how they can meet. The gopis continue. Hearing about your beauty and qualities and having your direct darshan has caused the creeper of our hopes to grow. And now it is embellished by the relishable fruits and flowers, with relishable fruits and flowers, and it will bear more in the future. So why are you ready to cut it down today with the dagger of your harsh words? No gentleman cuts down a tree full of fruits, especially when he himself has sown the seed and nurtured the plant. Don't you know that? The science of ethics declares that it is improper to cut down even a poisonous tree that one has nourished and cared for. All right, so now verse 34. Let me check the comments again. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Bhavatarani Mataji. Dandavat pranamzo. Chitam sukena bhavata pahritam grihe. Oh, and one thing, Bhavatarani Mataji, we have a WhatsApp group, and I always send the link on the WhatsApp group before I go live. So maybe, yeah, if you use WhatsApp, maybe if you'd like to join that, then you'll just get the link and you don't even need to look anywhere. Okay. Chitang sukhena bhavata pahritam griheshu yanirvishatyutakaravapi grihya kritye padopadam na chalatastavat paramular yama katam vrajamato karavama kingva. Hey Manamohan, O enchanter of the heart, till now our hearts were happily absorbed in household matters, and our hands were also busy with domestic chores. But you have very easily plundered our hearts. As we have been robbed of the power to think and our movements consequently curtailed, our feet refuse to take even one step away from your lotus feet. Pray tell us, how can we return to Vraj? Indeed, what would we do there? Srila Sridhar Swamipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. You are asking us to return to Vraj, but this is quite impossible because you have stolen our hearts and other senses. This is what the Gopis have expressed in the present verse, Chittam. Till now, our hearts were happily engaged in household affairs, and our hands were busy in housework. But with great delight, you have kidnapped them. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmī Pad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Śrī Kṛṣṇa might say, to ensure a comfortable stay at home, it is not advisable for you to leave your husbands and the rest of the family. Expecting such a statement, the Gopis pointed out the problems involved in living in home. The Gopis pointed out the problems in living in that home in this verse, Chittam. This home is not a happy place. It only gives us pain. You have stolen our hearts, which were happily engrossed in household affairs. But now, seeing you as the abode of true bliss, we have come to realize that these homes are places of suffering. If Sukhena is in the third place, Traitya, then the meaning will be, you derived great pleasure in stealing our hearts, and you have stolen away the power of our 2 feet, which were employed in household work, moving about here and there. Now they are not moving even one step away from your lotus feet, having lost their power to go anywhere else. This means that the power of the hands and feet has been taken away along with all the senses. Yet the sound of your flute attracted us to come here. After this, how can we go back to Vraj? Śrī Kṛṣṇa might suggest, O delicate ones, if this is so, then I will lead the way, and you follow me. The Gopis reply, what shall we do there? When the heart has been stolen, all the senses along with when the heart has been stolen, all the senses go along with the heart. Here the hands and feet are especially being emphasized because their hands cannot continue to serve their husbands and do the household chores, and the feet are incapable of moving anywhere else. The word ava, furthermore, in this present verse suggests a group. Their hearts, all their senses, hands, and feet. The rest has been explained by Srila Śrīdhara Swamīpad. That heart that was immersed in the pleasure and in the objects of the senses now refuses to enter the house again because you have kidnapped it. So how can we possibly continue doing household chores? Krishna might reply, Hey Graheshwaris, O queens of the houses, you should reason with your hearts and convince them to enter. So you should reason with your hearts and convince them to enter there. The Gopis. You have also abducted our 2 hands, so they have become powerless to do household work. If you say, even so, it is not proper to stay there, return to your homes, we would reply, our 2 feet have been attracted to you, and they will not take one step away from you. So how can we return to Vraj, and what would we do there? The heart that is absorbed in you, the hands that are engaged in your activities, and the 2 feet that are standing next to you are incapable of going anywhere else. Okay, so now comes the meaning displaying humor. We had no reason to come to the forest, nor have we come to see you. Rather, we came here in search of one invisible thief who stole our wealth in the form of our hearts. Then we found that you are that thief. But even after catching you, we have not been able to retrieve our hearts and are unable to go anywhere else to lodge a complaint against you, because the power of our hands and feet have also been taken away. So how can we return to our homes without getting our lost treasure back? And even if we did return, what would we do there? Oh, great burglar, you have stunned us and rendered us helpless with your mesmerizing Maha Mantra, and in your presence we cannot reach a solution. Now what will happen? And now is the meaning showing indifference. Śrī Kṛṣṇa might say, I have pulled all of you out of your houses by attracting you with the sound of my flute. You must be very tired, so how will you be able to go back? The Gopīs. Hey, Mohan, are you thinking that we have come here because you have stolen our hearts? This is not the case. We are fully absorbed in domestic duties, and our hearts are happily engaged in household affairs, so it is not possible for you to steal them away. Our hands are also engaged in the same way. Don't doubt our ability to move. We are not tired, and we can travel a good distance. We have nothing to do here, so why shall we not go back home? Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. And we'll be ending with this. Some other gopis spoke, their love-filled words saturated with ras. O Emperor of Thieves, our only purpose in coming to you is to recover our wealth that you have stolen. To accomplish this robbery, you did not have to make any special effort as other thieves do. Simply by blowing some air through the holes of your flute, you easily carried off our hearts, which were happily, sukhena, occupied in domestic matters. But don't think that our wealth, our hearts, is paltry. Those hearts were completely absorbed in our households. And by taking this treasure, you have plundered our very homes. This is a suggested meaning. Now that our hearts are no longer in our homes, it is of no consequence to us whether those houses are burned to ashes or if they become more prosperous. The gopis lamented further. What to speak of our homes? You have also stolen our ability to hear and our other senses, and without them we cannot function. Karav api, our hands as well. You have also abducted our hands, ears, and eyes, which were employed in household duties. Śrī Kṛṣṇa might say, O beautiful ones, return to your homes today. Tomorrow or the day after, I will make some special investigation and give back your hearts. The gopis would reply, Pado, our feet. Without our hearts, our feet are unable to take even one step away from your lotus feet. So please return our hearts, and then we will go back to Vraj. All right, so tomorrow we will read from verse 35. Well, I'll just read the translation just so we get a sneak preview. Hey, Pranavalabh, O love more dear to us than life, your sweet, enchanting smiles, your loving glances, and the melodious sounds of your flute have ignited the fire of our love in our hearts. The fire of love in our hearts. Only the nectar flowing from your lips can extinguish it. So please administer this remedy. Otherwise, O friend, in truth, we will be consumed by the fierce fire of separation from you. And in this way, we will reach your lotus feet and meditation. So here they're going to give up their lives. We'll read about that tomorrow. What time is it? Oh, it's only 8:16. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to read this verse because it's the commentary is very long, and so we'd go way over time if we started this one. But since there's a little bit of extra time, actually something that I need to do, there are these articles on bhakti being simultaneously inherent and bestowed, and I'm 2 articles behind, so I'm going to read those. So I'll make a new video and read that. And I think in this next article, it will go through all the 4 sampradayas, their conclusions on bhakti being inherent and bestowed. So we can see it's not just our Gaudiya conception, but it's also the conception of the Śrī Sampradaya, the Madhva Sampradaya, the Vallabh Sampradaya. Like I'll go through all the different sampradayas and show. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. This is where we are in the book, if you want to see. See? Right there. Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Gandhar Vikagiri Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Viranta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudev ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Viranta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Viranta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatarashata Shmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatarashata Shmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Shila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Shila Satchitaranda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaiṣṇava Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jīva Gopala Bhatta Dashagunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai. Namachay Shila Haridas Ṭhākura ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shiksheta Mandala, Gora Mandala, Vraja Mandala, Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Bharat Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki Jai, Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री रस-पाñcādhyāyī की जय, श्री सर्वव्रज देवी गण की जय, श्री रसेश्वरी श्री विश्वभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधा ठाकुरानी की जय, श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि ओम. वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाशाचार्य कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat pranam, everybody. So I'm going to go live again very soon to read this article. I mean, now the articles, the first 3 articles were a lot easier to follow, and now they're going to start getting kind of philosophically terse. So you don't need to watch them. It's an important thing to study and become strong in, and this is just one of the most amazing presentations I've seen. So on this topic, pulling from all of our like previous acharyas, like the Goswāmīs and like that. So that's why, yeah. All right, Dandavat pranams, everybody.